Good afternoon and welcome to the Keating Sports Center in Chicago, Illinois for another presentation of NCAA Division III men's volleyball here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Today, it's Senior Day inside the Keating Sports Center as the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks get set to play host to the St. Norbert Green Knights. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Chris Rouse on the call. Glad that you can join us here inside the Keating Sports Center in Chicago. As you can see, certainly a lot of festivities getting ready to begin in a few moments as we get ready for the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks Senior Day presentation. But today, Illinois Tech taking on St. Norbert in men's volleyball action. Big matchup for both teams as they sit on the outside looking in and actually right in the mix trying to get into those top 8 spots for the NAC Men's Volleyball Conference Tournament. Illinois Tech comes in with a record of 9-15 on the season, 4-5 in conference play. Illinois Tech 3-5 at the Keating Center following a loss earlier this week at the hands of conference foe Concordia University of Chicago. Meanwhile, the St. Norbert Green Knights, they come into this matchup with a record of 9-14 on the season, 3-7 in NAC Men's Volleyball Conference play. But for St. Norbert, their last 7 matches have gone back and forth. They are 3-4 in their most recent matches, in their last 7 matches, meaning they've lost one, wherever that left me off that. So they last time out, they ended on a loss with the Green Knights. So if it's an omen, if the trend is to continue, St. Norbert could be looking at a possibility of spoiling Illinois Tech's Senior Day, as St. Norbert lost in their most recent outing, which occurred earlier this week. That one was at the hands of MSOE, a 3-0 loss on Tuesday. Illinois Tech is on the floor right now, but in just a few moments, we're going to send it down to the PA guy, and he's going to present the Senior Day presentations for the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks today. The Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball program will celebrate the careers of Alec Donald, Eli Sherman, Riley Late, and also of Brian Evans. So Illinois Tech getting ready to give the names, to give the flowers, so to speak, to 4 key members of this men's volleyball program in just a moment. We'll take a quick break, and when we return to the Keating Sports Center, we will get the Senior Day festivities, and then following that, volleyball action coming up here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, it will be time for the Senior Day festivities. Back here live at the Keating Sports Center in Chicago, Illinois. Chris Rouse sitting courtside as we get ready for today's Division III men's volleyball matchup between the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks and the St. Norbert Green Knights. But it is Senior Day here inside the Keating Sports Center, and before that, Illinois Tech will have their Senior Day presentation, and that's actually getting ready to begin in just a few moments. So stand by here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and enjoy the senior festivities before today's matchup.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, our Scholars Box Volleyball Athletics community, for celebrating with us today. These four young men have been the core of our program for over 3 years. Our entire team is imprinted on them. They set an excellent example for growth because they've been for themselves. We'll be a different program without the daily practices in the uniform. I know the men will maintain close proximity to our volleyball team, and someday I hope I can express my sincere gratitude for everything they've done. Thank you all for choosing Illinois Tech and playing for our volleyball team. Alec Donovan is one of the best volleyball players we have on our roster. He's been awarded all-night mention twice in his career so far. Alec is currently number 2 all-time in the digs list and in digs percent. He's got a total of 815. In our remaining matches, he's got a shot at taking the top spot. He's deservingly been our captain for 3 years. He's an incredible motivator and remains encouraging regardless of circumstances. Alec is pursuing degrees in computer science with a concentration in information security and a master in cyber forensics and security. Thank you for making such an impact on our program and your teammates. He's absolutely helped me with my ability to motivate all of our different personalities. I can't wait to see you play at the adult level and continue to grow as a person and volleyball player. Ryan Evans has experienced a tremendous trajectory in his development in our program. This group has maintained their youthful personalities as they've matured. They've poured so much effort and focus into being their most productive, progressive, reliable, accountable, and loving selves. I think Ryan took that most seriously. He'll complete his degree in computer and electrical engineering. When you're up for it, I'd love to go on another bike ride someday. The conversations you have had that I know nothing about have helped your friends become more self-aware and understand themselves better, which has caused them to be more confident individuals. Thank you so much for being a caring and inspirational teammate. Eli Sherman is someone every team and coaching staff will benefit from working with. He's honored commitments to several communities in Illinois Tech. In addition to representing our school through our men's volleyball program, he's a contributor in Campus Greek Life. As a member of Alpha Sigma Phi. Good. Eli has been a key contributor in all of our most significant wins in the program. He ran our offense in both wins over ranking opponents in 2023. He split the setting job in our first set of NAC playoff appearance where we won in 5. And I just made this comment last night. I remember him on the court during the final play and how it looked from my perspective on the bench and the live stream trying to watch it over again. Eli is second in all-time assists for a program at 792 and 5th in 6%. He'll graduate next year with a degree in architecture and will compete with our nearby alumni in the future. Like Alec, I can't wait to see you compete at the adult level and continue to develop as a human being. Thank you so much for putting our program and your teammates in the top tier of your priorities and commitments in your time being here. Thank you for setting such a great example of being a student athlete. Riley Lake is one of the key reasons why people like to watch us play volleyball. We might not see it today, but he's one of the most elastic, high-flying, dynamic athletes we've had in our program. He's coming back from a 3-week hiatus, but is currently on 3 NAC leader lists for aces, kills, and points percent. He's even number 1 in aces with 0.56%. All time at Illinois Tech, he's second in kills, 721, fourth in kills percent, first in aces with 78, fifth in aces percent, third in digs, 456, and second in total points, 843.5. Riley has changed a lot over these 4 years. He hasn't had to curtail any of his traits that he came in with. He's still kind and humble, but you wouldn't think so when you see him play his best. He still gets caught up in thinking what could go wrong, but he's developed the mental toughness that athletes need to overcome those thoughts. He's an engineer. Come on. Riley will depart this year with an architectural engineering degree. Thank you for dedicating yourself to your teammates, our program, and entertaining yourself.
All right, Scarlet Hawks fans, let's hear it one last time for our seniors. Alec Donald, Brian Evans, Eli Sherman, and Riley Lake. The Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball class 2025. Participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, sexist, or other abusive comments and actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and will be grounds for removal from the Kids Sports Center. Fans, as a reminder, permission to enter the court or bench areas are restricted to student athletes, coaches, and officials, game-day staff, and authorized personnel. Unauthorized individuals violating this policy will be subject to removal from the Kids Sports Center. Now, with all fans, if you are able, please rise and remove your hats as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem. Norbert Green Knights. 6'3" junior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, number 3, Barry Applewhite. 6' junior from Robertson, Wisconsin, Libero, number 5, Ryan Conway. 6'3" junior from Appleton, Wisconsin, number 6, Kay Nelson. 6'1" junior from Appleton, Wisconsin, number 8, Kay Cornhouse. 6'1" junior from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, number 20, Michael Whitney. 6'2" sophomore from Appleton, Wisconsin, number 22, Benny Cornhouse. And a 6' sophomore from Tomahawk, Wisconsin, number 25, Zach Ansey. And the St. Norbert Knights are led by head coach DJ Bryant in his 5th season. And now we're starting out for your Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. A 5'10" senior from Lansing, Illinois, number 4, Alec Donald. 6'2" junior from Stellarton, Washington, number 6, Paul Henderson. 6'4" freshman from Cross Plains, Wisconsin, number 7, Eric Jones. 6'2" senior from Palatine, Illinois, number 11, Eli Sherman. 6'1" senior from Jamesburg, Pennsylvania, number 14, Riley Lake. 6'4" freshman from Burlington, Vermont, number 20, Maximo Dowling. And 6'5" junior from Alpharetta, Georgia, number 24, Giovanni Komodo. The Scarlet Hawks are led by Mike Oswald in his 3rd season. Back here courtside inside the Keating Sports Center in Chicago. It is now time for NCAA Division III men's volleyball action. as the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks get set to take on the St. Norbert Green Knights. Very beautiful senior day ceremony for the 4 seniors of this Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball program. Alec Donald, Brian Evans, Eli Sherman, and Riley Late representing the 4 seniors that Mike Oswald will have today. However, today the Scarlet Hawks will take on the St. Norbert Green Knights. They come in with a record of 9-14, 3-7 in conference play, led by head coach B.J. Bryant in his 5th season. And a quick recap of the starters for St. Norbert. Number 3, Barry Applewhite. Number 5, Ryan Conway. Number 6, Cade Nelson. Number 8, Caden Cornhouse. Number 20, Michael Whitney. Number 22, Bennett Cornhouse. And number 25, Zach Hansey rounds out the starters for St. Norbert. The libero for St. Norbert will be Ryan Conway. Meanwhile, on the other end, Illinois Tech actually will use Riley Late as their starting libero. He's wearing the different color uniform. Alec Donald is actually listed as a potential libero as well, but he will actually not play in that libero role as we start. It will be Riley Late. Alec Donald is back to serve. It'll be number 4, Alec Donald for Illinois Tech. Number 6, Paul Henderson. Number 7, Eric Jones. Number 11, Eli Sherman. Number 14, Riley Late, who will be the libero, as I just mentioned. Number 20, Maximo Dowling. And number 24, Jelani Kimoto. We'll start it off for Mike Oswald in his 3rd season. Mike Oswald, of course, joined by Joe Kelly as the assistant coach. Assistant coaches for St. Norbert, they have Val Toms, Matt Seidel, and Cody Fiorito on the other sideline for the Green Knights. Green Knights actually with the gold uniforms here with the green numbers, green shorts, white swipes. It'll be Alec Donald serving right to left as we begin here at the Keating Center. Almost an ace for Donald to start us off. That would have been a perfect start to senior day for the basically local product in Donald out of Lansing, Illinois. There's a long hit from Dowling, and it's in for Illinois Tech as they get the opening score. So Maximo Dowling here on senior day. It's actually a freshman who produces the first point of the day for the Scarlet Hawks. So close to it being Alec Donald getting the ace. St. Norbert with an outside hit opportunity from Caden Cornhouse. That was blocked. Alec Donald able to lay out, and then Eli Sherman gets the kill. Great effort from Donald, laying it on the line. He was able to get low for the dig. He tried to pancake to the floor. Clean dig for Donald. Point for the Scarlet Hawks. Alec Donald serve. Almost an ace. It is an ace for Alec Donald. Couldn't get the ace on the first serve, but the patience pays off, and Donald makes it 3-0 Illinois Tech to start here in the early going. Alec Donald this season had 37 aces prior to that one. That was his 38th, and then he picks up the service error here, turns the serve over to St. Norbert for the first time this afternoon. Barry Applewhite comes onto the floor now for the first time for St. Norbert. He was actually on the sideline while Illinois Tech controlled the serve. First serve from the Green Knights will come from Cade Nelson, the junior out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Riley Late made contact to Sherman, who found Dowling, and that's already 2 kills for Dowling here in the first set. He has 2 of the first 4 points for this Illinois Tech team. Illinois Tech this season, it's been a streaky season for Illinois Tech. Remember, they lost their first 7, and then they had a stretch where they had their season high 4-match win streak. But as of late, Scarlet Hawks have been struggling. Point to St. Norbert there as we still have some fans filing in, watching out for the flying balls heading into the seats here at the Keating Center. Pretty good crowd for both teams. So now Michael Whitney, the junior out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, will serve. And he serves over to the senior Riley Late. Sherman setting up Henderson, outside hit, and a point for the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. Illinois Tech in the early going has controlled the middle of the floor. You saw Alec Donald had the great dig earlier where he laid out on the floor to keep the ball alive. Eli Sherman on the serve. Outside hit for St. Norbert. That was a great hit from Cornhouse. I think that went off the head of Eric Jones. I can see Jones tapping himself saying that's on me. That was a long run for Donald into the bench. And as a result, a point for St. Norbert. Caden Cornhouse to serve. A lot of Appleton products on this team. They got both guys named Cornhouse, Caden and Bennett. Meanwhile, Paul Henderson hits the ball over for Illinois Tech. They also have Cade Nelson, who's out of North High School, as well as Mason Werner on the St. Norbert roster. And the Green Knights get the point to cut their deficit to 5-4. Caden Cornhouse, keeping with that theme of guys from Appleton, Wisconsin. Cornhouse on the serve, but an error here for Cornhouse, and that will turn control of the serve over to Illinois Tech. It will be Maximo Dowling. Great start for Dowling here. As we mentioned, he's got 2 of the 6 points for Illinois Tech. And now an ace. Great job by Maximo Dowling. Who would have thought on senior day? Once again, it's the freshman, the player who's listed as the freshman coming through, making the big impact in the early going. And once again, there are 2 freshmen in the starting lineup for Illinois Tech. Eric Jones and Maximo Dowling. Dowling credited with 3 of the points for Illinois Tech. And now the officials are going to have a bit of a conference here after head coach B.J. Bryant in his 5th season has come out onto the floor, and he's had some words following that point scored to Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawks believe there should be a point here off the contact for St. Norbert. St. Norbert wanted a side out here.
I'm 99% sure I wrote the captain on there, right?
And now here's Dowling.
Captain on the lineup sheet? Yeah.
And Maximo Dowling now will serve. After the conference, the point still goes to Illinois Tech. It'll be Maximo Dowling. Dowling on the serve. It's Whitney with the set. The ball was hit long by Cornels, but he hit it long off the hands of Dowling. Dowling tried to make a play. Instead, the ball goes to the far east side of the Keating Center, and it results in St. Norbert pulling within 2 points. Boston Peck, the senior out of Plainfield, Illinois, coming in to serve. Peck is listed as 5'10", 170 pounds, wearing number 16. A few bounces of the ball to get a feel. This is the first piece of action we've seen out of Boston Peck, and it comes via a serve. Outside hit for Henderson. Blocked at the top. Numerical counterpart of Henderson with that block, Cade Nelson. So one number 6 was blocked by the other, and that gives St. Norbert their 6th point of the first set. Here's Boston Peck to serve. Peck gets the top of the net. Riley late on the reception. Eric Jones coming right down the middle. Point to the Scarlet Hawks. That was a beautiful setup for Jones. All he had to do was run into that hit, and Jones gets the kill. So once again, I think Mike Oswald, he's got his starters, he's got his seniors out there as the starters. He's also got the freshmen. But a good time to show the balance that you have in terms of age with your roster. You want to honor these seniors, but also let these first-year players show what they can do, and they're doing that here. Aaron Haney on the serve. Outside hit opportunity for St. Norbert is good again. It's Bennett Cornels. Cornels has come through for 2 kills already for St. Norbert. And it's now an 8-7 score in favor of Illinois Tech, 7 serving 8, however. Bennett Cornels. Cornels starting to hear it from some of the Scarlet Hawks fans in attendance. And that was a great play for Cade Nelson as he just spikes that one down off Komodo. So Bennett Cornels and Cade Nelson, they've been certainly made a big impact here in the early going. They've been key for St. Norbert in tying the score at 8 apiece. Cornels hits it long, and the error will give Illinois Tech the advantage on the scoreboard. 9 serving 8 with Paul Henderson back to serve. Henderson, the 6'2 junior out of Steilacoom, Washington. Nice high serve from Henderson. Nice high toss into his serve. And again, it finds his numerical counterpart, Cade Nelson. Seems like every time Henderson makes contact, Nelson makes contact for a St. Norbert point on the other side. He blocked him earlier. This time he sends his serve back with a kill. That serve was from Owen Knezovich, who was in for the first time for St. Norbert, and they'll continue to serve thanks to Caden Cornels, who comes through with solid contact. Cornels, whether it be Caden or Bennett and Cade Nelson, those 3 all over the floor here in this first set. And we might see him again here. Actually, it's blocked this time by Sherman. Outside hit again, and a kill for St. Norbert as Caden Cornels put that one just past me at the table to make it 11-9 Green Knights. St. Norbert, ever since they rallied to cut it to a 7-6 deficit, they've been in control. Here's Alec Donald. He goes for the kill, and he's blocked, but it's a side out as the ball just really ricocheted down the net and off the post of the net to give the point to Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawks back in control of the serve here late in set 1, or midway through set 1. Starting to get late in set 1 with this fast pace. Outside hit for St. Norbert. Played on by Late. Sherman for Komodo. Jelani Komodo certainly had the ground covered there. That was a good job by Komodo right in the middle of the floor again for Illinois Tech. The Scarlet Hawks have covered the middle of the floor very well in the early going, and that's where they have the advantage. And now St. Norbert saying, hold on, sir. Cade Nelson right in the middle of the floor went right back at Komodo. I have to say with Cade Nelson, it appears that if Illinois Tech scores one way, Cade Nelson bounces right back and gets a point almost in that same fashion as he did there. Komodo scored in the middle of the floor. Nelson hit one right off of Komodo. Riley late on the bump. And the ball just barely over the net. I'll be interested to see how they scored that one in the official book because it was late on the bump. I'm not so sure if Sherman got a finger on it, but the point goes to Illinois Tech. Jelani Komodo to serve. Each team trying to gain the lead here on this rally, and the point goes to St. Norbert, middle of the floor again. Bennett Cornels maybe a little off center, but the ball inside the field of play there. Now St. Norbert takes a 13-12 advantage. Michael Whitney, nice high toss. Whitney hits it long. Good job by Henderson to duck underneath the ball to make sure he didn't make contact there. And we're tied at 13. Both of these teams back and forth trading the lead here in set one. Henderson on the serve. There was a low play for St. Norbert, and as a result, they couldn't get the ball over the net as Bennett Cornels tried to go for the spike, but instead he spikes it into the net for an attack error. Point to the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. Eli Sherman. Sherman serves it over clean. Bit of a rainbow on that serve. Outside hit opportunity for St. Norbert. They set it up perfectly this time for Caden Cornels. Most of the outside hits for St. Norbert have been on the opposite side of the floor, away from me at the table, away from you on the camera. That was the first time we've seen St. Norbert play to the side of the benches, and they got the kill. Here's Cornels. Went over clean to Dowling. Ball kept alive by Illinois Tech, and the kill for Paul Henderson. It was Dowling, Sherman, and then Henderson got a hit on the outside. Sherman again puts it right down in the middle of the floor. St. Norbert unable to handle it. And the Scarlet Hawks lead it by one. Very good turnout here at the Keating Sports Center for Illinois Tech Senior Day. And there's an ace again. It's Maximo Dowling. The freshman comes through. I was getting ready to say great turnout here. We got members of the women's volleyball team, the women's basketball team, all here supporting Illinois Tech men's volleyball. We've also got the families of the seniors. There's a long hit for St. Norbert. Was there contact? The officials say no, and the point goes to the Scarlet Hawks. Illinois Tech leads it 17-14. Illinois Tech 3-5 at home this season. This, of course, their home finale for the 2025 men's volleyball season. Middle of the floor opportunity for St. Norbert's Barry Applewhite, and Applewhite gets the Green Knights back within two, 17-15, Illinois Tech. St. Norbert coming in following a 3-0 loss on Tuesday at the hands of the MSOE Raiders, but that follows a win against Edgewood. As a matter of fact, in the last 7 matchups for St. Norbert, they've traded losses and wins, and I said losses first because they lost to Benedictine on March 1st, and since then it's been win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. And there's a kill for Illinois Tech as they try to make it 2 straight losses for St. Norbert and end that streak on the Illinois Tech Senior Day. It's going to be a great day for Illinois Tech to get a win right here at home inside the Keating Sports Center. Win that final home game of the season. Illinois Tech will be on the road Wednesday to take on Wisconsin Lutheran, and then they too will see the Edgewood Eagles on April 5th. Serve coming from Haney. Outside hit opportunity for St. Norbert. Tough play for Zachary Buss as he was in position, but he was trying to set the ball in the air, but the ball had already gotten to his elbow. It had descended in flight to the elbow level of his hand, so Buss just a little behind the ball there. Or maybe it was just hit so hard that by the time he just really couldn't get his hands up in time. As now St. Norbert will go with Cornels. Sherman for Komodo. They try middle of the floor again, this time blocked. Good job by Nelson on the block. Nelson also punched it over. Sherman played it back for Henderson, and the kill. That was a smart play by Sherman recognizing how well Cade Nelson had been covering the net. I think Sherman recognized Nelson was about to crowd the net. He played it back for Henderson, and Henderson got the kill. Expect another high toss from Paul Henderson. And Henderson's serve goes over clean. His reception, however, not as clean as St. Norbert gets the point. Great job by Michael Whitney with the quick tap as he knocks that one down for the point. Great opening to our game today. Mike Oswald, the head coach of Illinois Tech, has some beautiful things to say about all 4 of his seniors. Can't wait to see them play at the next level, continue to grow as individuals, as Paul Henderson gives Illinois Tech a 3-point advantage. I think one of the things that stood out from what Coach Mike Oswald said was what he said about Riley Late, the senior, number 14, who's playing libero right now, when he mentioned how he's been so entertaining throughout his career, and thank you for dedicating yourself to us and entertaining all of us here at Illinois Tech throughout his career. And Riley Late has certainly been that with the way he flies around the floor. And honestly, I really brought that up because I was thinking about Paul Henderson, and I know Henderson's only a junior, but you can sort of see some of the similarities in Late and Henderson, both flying around the floor, giving it everything they have here as we have a conference between the two officials, second one of the set. So now Alec Donald hits that one into the net for an error. 20-18, our score, as now St. Norbert will take over. We've already had 2 conferences here in the first set. And let's see now if St. Norbert, they got the point following the error. Let's see if they can take advantage here. Dowling sets it up for Sherman. They go back to Dowling. And now here's St. Norbert. That was a long set into the air, and it was blocked by Illinois Tech. Hit over the top of the net this time by Cornels. Outside hit for Dowling. He'll try again. Instead, he hits it long. Point to St. Norbert. There was a beautiful set in there from St. Norbert, which was blocked at the top of the net. That was a long set from the far outside to the near outside, but Illinois Tech had it scouted, but were unable to make the play on that last piece of contact. Cade Nelson to serve. Dowling to Sherman. Dowling's just going to have to set that over, and he does just that. Whitney blocked by Dowling. The point to Illinois Tech. High energy first set here inside the Keating Sports Center, where Illinois Tech currently leads at 21-19 in set 1. It'll be Jelani Komodo. Komodo serve went over clean. Long hit from Applewhite. Side out, point to Illinois Tech. Barry Applewhite maybe needs to take some of the sting out of some of those hits. He's hit them long a few times. As a result, St. Norbert will burn a timeout. 22-19 our score. Illinois Tech leads it late in set 1. Let's see if the Scarlet Hawks can clinch it on the other side of this break. You're watching Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. Courtside here inside the Keating Sports Center in Chicago. Chris Rouse on the call as this is Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. Illinois Tech with a 22-19 advantage here in set 1 against the St. Norbert Green Knights. Illinois Tech right now literally sitting in the 8th spot in the NAC conference standings, would be the last team into the conference tournament if it were to start today. Meanwhile, at the top of this conference, Aurora, Dominican, and MSOE all sitting at 8-1, have all clinched spots into the conference tournament, as well as Benedictine, who sits at 8-2. And then you have a logjam of 4 and 5 teams: Marion, Concordia, Wisconsin Lutheran, Illinois Tech, and Concordia, Wisconsin. And then Edgewood is 4 and 6. Right there is everybody battles for the final spot in the NAC conference tournament. Violation will favor St. Norbert here. They're going to say it's a double hit against Illinois Tech. as now Michael Whitney will control the serve. We mentioned St. Norbert 3-7 in conference play. They actually need this win to at least have any hope at trying to remain a contender in the conference tournament. 3-7, and they're about 5 teams tied at 4-5, and then they have Edgewood at 4-6. There's Henderson who hits it over, or Henderson hit it to Sherman who sent it over. Now here comes St. Norbert. Long hit, and the point to the Scarlet Hawks. 23-20 Illinois Tech. Coach B.J. Bryant up on his feet. He thought maybe there was a hit, and there was. The officials say there was a hit. There was contact from Illinois Tech, and the point will go to St. Norbert. And now the serve will come from Michael Whitney. Michael Whitney to serve. As both coaches, B.J. Bryant and Mike Oswald, on their feet here. Both teams have certainly had words with the officials in this fast-paced opening set. Henderson with great contact, but it was played on by St. Norbert and kept alive. Good job by Hansey to send it over. Dowling going for the kill, and he gets it past Hansey. Also, there may have been contact at the net from Bennett Cornelius as that ball was hit from the outside by Illinois Tech. 23-21. Scarlet Hawks looking to take set one on senior day. Eli Sherman sends it over clean. Outside hit opportunity mishandled by St. Norbert. That's a violation as Barry Applewhite missed the ball. They're actually going to say double hit. He did make contact, and then he hit it again with the offhand. 24-21 Scarlet Hawks. Set point right here with Eli Sherman on the serve. Sherman sends it to the middle of the floor. Received by Conway the libero. Off the hands of Sherman, and the point to St. Norbert. That was a great hit again from Caden Cornelius. Both Bennett and Caden Cornelius have been all over the floor here in the opening set for St. Norbert. It's usually been Caden Cornelius on this side of the floor. Meanwhile, it's been Bennett on the opposite side of the floor. Head coach Mike Oswald will burn a timeout. 24-22, Illinois Tech will take a break late here in set one. And when we return, we'll see if Illinois Tech can put it away on the other side of this break here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. You're watching Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. This is the home finale for Illinois Tech before they get ready to head on the road for 2 more matches to conclude the 2025 men's volleyball season. They'll take on Wisconsin Lutheran on Wednesday. Then they'll see Edgewood on Saturday. If Illinois Tech were to win this matchup, they would go to 4-5 at home on the season for their final tally. They would also go to 10-15 with their overall record. Illinois Tech this season currently 4-5 in conference play in a mix with 5 teams that all have a record of 4-5 in conference play. Meanwhile, we have a conversation going on right in front of me here at the table. Coach Mike Oswald having words with one of the officials, and I think there may be an issue with the way Coach Oswald announced that last timeout. There were some issues about uncalled timeouts from Coach Mike Oswald and towards head coach B.J. Bryant. I don't think he liked one of the timeouts that was called earlier, and then he screamed timeout during that last break. Action resumes as Caden Cornelius gets the service error, and the point goes to Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawks take set one by a score of 25-22. A number of stoppages, a number of official conferences, but after all is said and done, Illinois Tech takes set one by a score of 25-22. Set 2 coming up on the other side of this break. You're watching Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks men's volleyball on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Welcome back to the Keating Sports Center in Chicago, Illinois. This is NCAA Division III men's volleyball on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Illinois Tech able to take set one from the St. Norbert Green Knights by the score of 25-22 here inside the Keating Sports Center. Let's go over some of the key stats from that first set. We mentioned some important names for St. Norbert. How about both guys named Cornelius? Caden had 4 kills, and Bennett also added 4 of his own, and Cade Nelson adding 3, as that totaled out for 15 kills, as they had those are the key numbers in the total of 15 kills for St. Norbert. So they had 3 guys that helped combine for 11 of their 15 kills in set 1. Illinois Tech got 4 kills from Paul Henderson. They also got 3 out of Maximo Dowling. I was actually surprised to see Henderson actually had 4 and Dowling had 3. I thought it would have been the other way just off the eye test. But as it stands, Illinois Tech 13 kills in that first set. They were able to take advantage of it and go on to win that set by a score of 25-22 here inside the Keating Sports Center. Let's see how St. Norbert responds as we get ready for set 2 in just a moment. Illinois Tech on the left side now of your screen. They'll be going left to right. St. Norbert headed right to left. Illinois Tech will be hitting the ball to the north side of the Keating Sports Center, meaning St. Norbert will be hitting it the opposite way to the south side of the Keating Center. And it's actually a beautiful day here on the near south side of Chicago. 67 degrees outside today. Certainly been an up and down week. Not as bad as it was maybe last week. I remember last Saturday I did the lacrosse matchup, and it certainly was a crisp, cold Saturday. Not the case here as we get some of this heat and some of this warmth inside the Keating Sports Center. They even have the doors and the big fans going here inside the Keating Center. Usually an indication that the weather is certainly changing here in Chicago. Whenever inside the Keating Center, you got to open the doors to let out some of the heat here for the two teams to compete. St. Norbert will serve. It appears that it'll be Owen Knezevich. Actually, Knezevich is going to pass it off here to Michael Whitney. So Michael Whitney will serve to begin set 2 for St. Norbert. Head coach B.J. Bryant having some words here with Cade Nelson just to my right. I thought Nelson was going to start. Actually, Nelson will start this set. He'll start on the bench as Komodo gets the kill. And again, Jelani Komodo right down the middle of the floor for Illinois Tech. Komodo had 1 kill earlier where we pointed it out. They went literally right down the middle of the floor. And now Komodo gets the kill here to make it 1-0. Komodo on the serve and a violation against St. Norbert. So Komodo has helped Illinois Tech jump out to an early 2-0 advantage. As the officials are saying there was a violation against Michael Whitney prior to the serve from Komodo. Coach B.J. Bryant, whatever the explanation was, he did not like that one. As now Illinois Tech will serve again. Komodo to the middle of the floor to Ryan Conway. Outside hit for St. Norbert. That's a beautiful kill from Bennett Cornelius. 5th kill of the match for Cornelius. We mentioned Caden Cornelius. We mentioned Bennett Cornelius. Both of them all over the floor for St. Norbert in that first set. Both had 4 kills apiece. Caden Cornelius will serve, but his serve goes into the net. Service error will favor the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. Illinois Tech certainly a sports hotbed today. They got baseball action going on outside. Not necessarily Illinois Tech baseball action, but there's baseball going on as we get an error. Illinois Tech lacrosse also occurring just across the way at Stewart Field, which you also can catch here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Just go find the link for the lacrosse broadcast. And then, of course, this volleyball action here on Senior Day. Barry Applewhite. Applewhite to serve. Riley Late bumps it in the air. Sherman back sets it up to Dowling as they played it back. Illinois Tech has done a good job of playing the ball back. Ball's hit over the net with the right hand from Cornelius. Henderson tried to spike it over Cornelius. Cornelius blocked it. 3 apiece on the scoreboard. That was a good job by Bennett Cornelius getting those hands up for a clean block. St. Norbert now will control the serve with Barry Applewhite. Applewhite sends it to Late. Sherman plays it back. Donald and Henderson almost ran into one another. Ball hit over the net for St. Norbert, but it goes out of play. Point to Illinois Tech. That's a tough break for St. Norbert. That was awfully close for Cade Nelson. He almost got the kill. Ball just out of play. Side out serve to Dowling. Dowling sends it to the back line. And then that ball slammed down by Eric Nelson. Simply just used his set hands to spike the ball down and give Illinois Tech a 5-3 advantage. Again, a win here for Illinois Tech would be key in the conference standings. It'll put Illinois Tech at 5-5. Illinois Tech is currently the eighth. They're in currently the eighth and final spot to get into the NAC conference tournament. Remember, Illinois Tech had the upset as the 6th seed last year, where they defeated Benedictine. But as it stands at the moment, Illinois Tech will be the last team in, and very well could match up against Benedictine, even though Benedictine at the moment is currently sitting in that 4th spot. But at 8-2, they need some help with Aurora, Dominican, and MSOE, all sitting at 8-1, possibly get into that top spot. 5 apiece on the scoreboard, with St. Norbert now controlling the serve with Bennett Cornels. Cornels trying to swing the score, and he may have just done it. Donald made contact. The ball went through the basket in the Keating Center, and now St. Norbert will control the serve here. I think the officials are going to say that's not going to count as a point because the ball went through the basket here in the Keating Center, and that's a tough break for St. Norbert because Donald did make contact. So the officials are just going to call that one off, and they will reserve. That was a great hit from Cornels. Unfortunately, the viewers at home couldn't see it because the baskets in the Keating Center are actually above the camera here right now, and the point goes to Illinois Tech. Unfortunate that the fans didn't get to see that. Our camera is actually, I believe, a little bit at the same level as the baskets here in the Keating Center, so directly left, the ball went into the baskets, which are elevated for clearance for the volleyball court. Serve coming for Haney. Haney sends it over clean for Illinois Tech. Nice block at the top. Sherman sets it up outside for Henderson. Henderson spikes that one down off the hands, and the point goes to Illinois Tech. Good job by Henderson as he spikes that one down off the hands of the outside hitters for St. Norbert. The ball ricochets over to me at the table, and now here comes another serve from Haney. Haney sends it over to the outside. That's going to be a tough play for St. Norbert, and an ace for Aaron Haney as he puts it down to make it an 8-5 Scarlet Hawks score. Illinois Tech in control of the serve at a good point in the matchup. Let's see if St. Norbert will try to turn things around here. Following this serve from Haney. Haney puts him in the middle of the floor. Received by Conway. Is sent over from St. Norbert in the kill from Michael Whitney. Michael Whitney has certainly been involved in the contact for St. Norbert on the ball. We saw him early on. He's had a number of serves. He gets a kill here to make it 8-6 Scarlet Hawks on the scoreboard. Riley late on the reception. Sherman for Donald. Alec Donald gets the point. 9-6 Illinois Tech. If you're a Scarlet Hawk fan, I'm sure you love to see that on senior day. That was all seniors. It was late to Sherman to Donald. However, the violation will actually negate all of that. So Illinois Tech gets the point, but that was all seniors as they tried to set up for the kill. Henderson, with help from the net, gets the ball over. And a kill for St. Norbert. Caden Cornels. I don't think Illinois Tech has really been able to control him. Usually when Caden Cornels gets involved, it's a point for St. Norbert. Now again, Illinois Tech has had a hard time really stopping the ball when it goes to their outside hitters, the St. Norbert outside hitters, and as a result, Cornels has certainly had an impact in the matchup. Jelani Komodo blocked at the top, this time by Applewhite. Good job by Barry Applewhite getting both hands up. And it's now 9-8 Illinois Tech, but the serve controlled by St. Norbert. Serve coming from Cade Nelson. Received by Donald. Sherman for Komodo, and Komodo off the hands of Bennett Cornels gets the kill. Good job by Jelani Komodo. Komodo has certainly controlled the middle of the floor for Illinois Tech. Whenever Illinois Tech tries to get a kill straight down the middle, they're usually setting up for 24 and white. Donald on the serve. Applewhite tried to just tap it over to fool Komodo. Instead, the ball hit the net. Dowling goes over the top. Ball blocked by Applewhite. And side out point to Illinois Tech. Bad luck there for Barry Applewhite. That was a nice effort. He tried to just tap it over Komodo. Instead, the ball went straight up, straight down, hit the net. It was still in play. And then when he blocked it long. Ball goes off the hands of Paul Henderson. That one will hit the basket on the sides of the camera here at the Keating Center. So, yes, the baskets are up, but certainly getting a lot of activity in the second set. We had a serve that went through the net earlier. Now that one hits one of the side backboards. Michael Whitney to serve. Whitney serves it to late. Sherman to Donald. The seniors again this time for Illinois Tech. There's contact, and this one officially goes in the book as all three seniors making a play. Good job by Late, Sherman, and Donald. Late goes to the bench as Illinois Tech takes a 3-point advantage on the scoreboard. Komodo looking for the ace, and Jelani Komodo gets the ace. Good job by Jelani Komodo. He's certainly fired up. The officials actually are saying that likely will not go in the book as an ace for Komodo. I saw the officials throw the 2 fingers up, which usually means double hit. So usually it's going to be a reception error as opposed. As now Donald gets into the air, and all Illinois Tech miscommunication there as Donald hit it straight up. That ball was hit straight up so quickly that it actually hit the ceiling here at the Keating Sports Center. And by the time Dowling got in place to make the play, it had already shot right back down to the floor. 13-10 Illinois Tech. 10 serving here with Cornels on the serve. Sherman to Dowling, blocked at the top. Sherman just going to send it over. And good job by Sherman. Heads up plays from Eli Sherman have been the key for Illinois Tech in this match. We mentioned how earlier St. Norbert was crowding the net, and Sherman started to play his passes back. This time Sherman just going to tap one over for a clean kill. 14-10 Illinois Tech. Sherman gets it over clean on the serve. Applewhite looking for the point, and Applewhite finally gets the success he's been looking for all along here in set 3. Applewhite had a couple of touches earlier where he just couldn't get the point. He gets the point this time with a clean kill. Serve coming from Boston Peck. Peck holding that ball out with his left hand. He's going to hit it with his left hand. He got some assistance from the net. Sherman set it up for Jones. Donald came in on the backside. Maybe a miss hit there from Illinois Tech. I'm not sure if that was designed, but too much contact. That's 4 hits on Illinois Tech as the ball did not clear. I'm not sure if that was by design. Were they trying a bit of a misdirection there against St. Norbert for Donald, and the ball just went long, or I'm not sure if that actually was just an accident. And then St. Norbert gives the Scarlet Hawks the point on the other end. Good job by Boston Peck as he got the ball over and got that first point. Unfortunately for Peck, he service error as he just hits that one straight in the middle of the net. Dowling to serve. Kept alive by St. Norbert. Good run by Sherman. Late. Now here's Donald. Donald just going to have to slap it over the net. Outside hit opportunity for St. Norbert. Kept alive by Dowling. Donald setting up Henderson. Henderson going for the outside hit. Played on by Whitney. Outside hit for St. Norbert. Hit by Knezevich. And the point to Illinois Tech. St. Norbert thought maybe there was contact. The officials say no. That's a side out. Point to Illinois Tech. Coach B.J. Bryant wants a timeout. 16-12 Scarlet Hawks with the advantage in set 2. Illinois Tech leads it on the scoreboard 1-0. St. Norbert searching for answers. Let's see what they have found on the other side of this break here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. Set 2 getting ready to continue here inside the Keating Sports Center. Illinois Tech with a 4-point advantage as they lead it by a score of 16-12. Throughout that timeout, St. Norbert head coach B.J. Bryant didn't even return to the huddle. He was standing in front of me again, having a conversation with one of the officials here on the line. Throughout that huddle, it was actually assistant coach Val Toms who was leading the huddle, and actually Assistant coach Val Toms has been up the majority of this set, sort of giving out the instructions for St. Norbert. She was leading the huddle. Val Toms in her first full season as an assistant coach for St. Norbert, assists with a lot of their recruiting processes moving forward in building their program. Bennett Cornels will now serve as Illinois Tech has a 3-point advantage, but it will be 13 serving 6 here with the sophomore from Appleton, Wisconsin, ready to send it over. Late to Sherman to Donald. Seeing a lot of that trio here in set 2. Outside hit for Knezovic. Knezovic sends a long point to Illinois Tech. 17-13. Illinois Tech as the senior from Lockport, Illinois, Owen Knezovic, just hit a little bit too hard there, giving Illinois Tech control of the serve. Aaron Haney to serve. Sophomore out of Brownsburg, Indiana. Is listed as 6'4". Left hand toss and serve. Haney looking for the ace, and he gets it. Aaron Haney gets the ball down right in front of his numerical counterpart, Caden Cornels. And it's now 18-13 Scarlet Hawks. Coach Mike Oswald, I know you can see him walking around in the nice dark red suit on that Scarlet Hawks sideline. Certainly enjoyed that ace from Haney. And another from Aaron Haney as Illinois Tech takes a 19-13 advantage on the scoreboard. Head coach B.J. Bryant not liking what he saw on that play. He wants another timeout. 19-13 Illinois Tech. St. Norbert has used both timeouts already here in set 2. They find themselves down 19-13, needing at least 12 points to win the set. Let's see if St. Norbert can figure out their strategies during this timeout. When we return, Illinois Tech leads at 19-13 here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. Back here at the Keating Sports Center in Chicago, the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks leading the St. Norbert College Green Knights by a score of 19-13 here in set 2. They lead the match by a score of 1-0, having won set 1 25-22. St. Norbert out of timeouts here in set 2 as they trail 19-13, meaning they're going to have a long way to go if they're going to pull off this set 2 victory. Haney to serve. Haney sends it over clean. Middle of the floor for St. Norbert. Almost a point. Donald ran under the net, and the point to the Green Knights. Side out clearly there. That'll give it to St. Norbert. 19-14 score. 14 serving 19 here, as it will be Owen Knezovic again. Knezovic sitting right in the middle of the floor on the north side of the Keating Center. And a violation against Illinois Tech will make it 19-15. Coach Mike Oswald out on the floor trying to get an explanation on that violation against his team. As now St. Norbert will go with Knezovic to serve. Buss and Late on the back line for Illinois Tech along with Donald. That's Buss on the reception. Henderson tried to punch it over. An immediate shot on the face of Paul Henderson. He tried to run right into that contact, but his punch just a little too short. Couldn't quite get it over the net. I'm almost certain Coach Mike Oswald told Henderson, look up at the scoreboard. We are winning right now. As Komodo comes back and gets the kill. Prior to that last serve from St. Norbert, Mike Oswald was on the floor having some words with Henderson. He pointed at the scoreboard. And I could see Henderson nod and salute to his head coach. And then Komodo immediately got the point back with now Henderson controlling the serve. 20 serving 16. Henderson sends it over. Outside hit opportunity for St. Norbert. That's a beautiful hit for Caden Cornels. Again, Cornels, when the ball comes to this near side of the floor, he has really owned this side for St. Norbert. He had a number of kills in that first set, whether he was hitting right to left, or I should maybe say for you, the viewer at home, where he's hitting bottom to top. He's now hitting top to bottom here, or hitting the opposite direction in this set. Sherman to Donald. Donald hit almost sent it to the back line. Komodo looking for the kill. Jelani Komodo with an immediate reaction to that ball. He realized St. Norbert had two players that tried to play the hit from Donald. Komodo came back to the top of the floor, knocked it down. Jelani Komodo again controlling the middle of the floor for Illinois Tech. Donald serve. Way too much on that rainbow as it goes out of play. 18 serving 21. It will be Michael Whitney. Whitney. This could be a huge turning point for St. Norbert if they can rally off a few points. But at this point, in set two, you may feel like it has to start here. That will help the cause as a double hit against Illinois Tech will cut that deficit down to 2. So Illinois Tech, remember, had a 19-13 edge going into that last time out. St. Norbert already up to 19 and within 2 on the scoreboard. Here's Whitney. Whitney serve goes over, and the error will give it to Illinois Tech. Personally, I thought maybe if St. Norbert got a point there, Coach Mike Oswald was likely going to burn the time out there. His team would have had a 1-point advantage, and they hadn't really been able to control the rallies, but thanks to the error, they control the serve with Komodo. Ball tapped at the top of the net from Cornels. It was blocked. Bennett Cornels will try again. His hit this time goes long. Point to Illinois Tech. 23-19 Scarlet Hawks. Jelani Komodo to serve. Komodo on the serve. Played in the air by St. Norbert. Outside hit opportunity. And again, it's Caden Cornels. That's what I mentioned in that first set. In the first set, he was working bottom to top. He's working top to bottom for you, the viewer at home, as the outside hitter for St. Norbert. And then you see him at the top of your screen, which would be the west side of the Keating Center. Hits that ball to the east side. Cam Doty in for the first time. Doty is 6-foot sophomore out of Burlington, Wisconsin. And Doty will serve the ball here for the Green Knights. He may get an ace. He does get an ace. Cam Doty comes in and makes immediate impact. Maybe got a little help from the home net here at the Keating Center, but that home net, I guess, fickle in the moment as it helps the visitors come within 2 on the scoreboard. Here's Cam Doty. Late on the reception. Sherman sets up for Dowling. Dowling blocked, but the ball out of play. Side out off the block from Cornels. 24-21. Illinois Tech looking to wrap it up here. It'll be Sherman looking to give Illinois Tech set 2. They won set 1 by a score of 25-22. Sherman sends it over clean. St. Norbert plays to the outside, is blocked at the top of the net. Point to St. Norbert as Jones and Dowling tried to go for the double block, but the ball hit the extenders, and that will be a side out. Coach Mike Oswald will burn a timeout. 24-22, Illinois Tech with the lead. Scarlet Hawks looking to wrap up set 2 on the other side of this break when we return to the Keating Sports Center here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Late in set 2, the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks currently leading the St. Norbert Green Knights by a score of 24-22. Illinois Tech took set 1 by a score of 25-22, and if Illinois Tech can get the point here on this ace, you could be looking at the same score, looking at identical scores for Illinois Tech to have a potential 2-0 advantage on the scoreboard. It will be Peck to serve as St. Norbert will try to salvage this first set for themselves. Peck on the serve. Played by Late. Sherman sets it up for Donald. Alec Donald looking for the kill, and he's successful. The senior comes through. Alec Donald makes it 25-22 Illinois Tech. The Scarlet Hawks take the first 2 sets with identical scores. Illinois Tech now leads this match 2-0 thanks to back-to-back 25-22 scores. Scarlet Hawks will look to put this one away with a clean sweep on the other side of this break. Set 3 coming up here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live after this break. Chris Rouse sitting courtside here at the Keating Sports Center in Chicago, where the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks have a 2-0 lead over the St. Norbert Green Knights, and it's a huge match for Illinois Tech, looking to go 4-5 at home for the 2025 men's volleyball season, but also for Illinois Tech, looking to get to 5-5, get to 500 in conference play as they battle for that 8th and final spot in the NAC men's volleyball conference tournament. 25-22 in favor of Illinois Tech in both of their set wins. They won 25-22 set 1, 25-22 set 2, and now will look to finish off senior day the right way, likely with a clean sweep of the St. Norbert Green Knights as we get ready to begin set 3. I'm sure that would be the perfect senior day just about for Illinois Tech. Maybe to get that final point with a senior probably putting it down, if that is how this matchup is supposed to end. But St. Norbert certainly will have something to say about that here as we move forward. We look back at some of our key stats to this point of the matchup. Bennett Cornelius, 9 kills to lead the way for St. Norbert. They have 7 out of Caden Cornelius. Illinois Tech, on the other hand, they have 3 players with 5 kills: Paul Henderson, Maximo Dowling, and Jelani Komodo. 6 block assists for St. Norbert. Leading the way with the block assists is Cade Nelson, as he has 2. Illinois Tech not really doing a great job with the blocks. They only have 1 total team block to this point of the matchup. And that block was actually recorded by Maximo Dowling. It'd be Alec Donald to serve here for Illinois Tech. And we are underway here in set 3. And there's a great hit from Barry Applewhite. First time St. Norbert has been able to jump on Illinois Tech first this evening. As now Applewhite spikes it down. Applewhite has had a lot of hard luck on some of his hits here. He's had some pretty quality contact a few times, but has just been able to get the points the way he would like to. He comes through here for the first point of set 3. And Applewhite, after getting the point, picks up the error to give it right back to Illinois Tech on the serve. Jelani Komodo, who I just mentioned a moment ago, up to 5 kills in the matchup. He will serve now. Ball sent over by Komodo. There was Cornelius going for the kill, but he gets blocked by Maximo Dowling. Good job by Dowling. getting right to the left outside of that net. And remember, that's where St. Norbert has had their success. They like to put Bennett Cornelius and Caden Cornelius out as the outside hitters on this near side of the floor. It hasn't worked. It didn't work on that occasion. It has worked well so far. And then in retaliation, Kate Nelson comes down the middle of the floor for St. Norbert to make it a 2-2 score. Tied at 2 with number 22 to serve, Bennett Cornelius. Here's Dowling. Dowling sends it over the net, and it was kept alive. That was a very low pancake by Owen Knezovich, but he kept it alive for his team on the dig. Ball goes over to St. Norbert, and the point to Illinois Tech, as there's going to be a double hit against St. Norbert. I believe that was Whitney who will be credited with the double hit. He sort of hit it when he was getting up and then made more contact as he was standing, and now the point goes to the Scarlet Hawks. Sherman serves it over clean. Outside hit, kept alive. Ball sent over, just a clean set over the net by Late. Outside hit for Knezovich. Late on the bump to get the dig. Henderson sends it over clean in the kill for Paul Henderson. 6th kill of the match for Henderson as he sends that one right at Cornelius and hits him in the left arm. Illinois Tech with a 4-2 advantage. Eli Sherman serves it clean with the left hand. Bit of a miscommunication for St. Norbert there. That ball hit long by Whitney. It appeared he was trying to set up Nelson. Instead, he sent the ball long, and it went to Knezovich. 5-2 Scarlet Hawks. Eli Sherman again to serve. Outside hit for St. Norbert. Actually, they faked that one to the outside. They kept it right in the front of the net with Cade Nelson. That appears that St. Norbert ran the same play, except they actually executed this time. That looked almost as if what they were trying to do on the other play. They tried to hit Nelson. The ball went long to Knezovich. This time it did find Nelson, and he put it down for the point. Knezovich over to Donald. Outside hit for Henderson. Paul Henderson with another kill. Henderson's been coming through big for Illinois Tech. That's his 6th kill of the match. Henderson, Dowling, and Komodo all had 5 entering this 3rd set. I know Henderson and Komodo both up to 6. Here is Dowling on the ace. And another, what a rocket of a hit there from Eric Jones. The ball got to him in a hurry, and he spiked it right at Bennett Cornelius to get the kill. 7-3. Maximo Dowling. Ball played on the outside. Riley Late sets it over clean. Outside hit opportunity. Ball hit long. And the point to Illinois Tech. St. Norbert thought maybe there was contact. And Coach B.J. Bryant upset as he heads back down the line towards his bench. It's now 8-3 Illinois Tech. Dowling the serve. But unfortunately for Dowling, that's going to be a service error right into the net. Coach B.J. Bryant is still fuming on that south bench here, which is currently the St. Norbert bench. Having some words with assistant coach Val Toms. Been a rough afternoon here for the Green Knights. In set 1, Coach B.J. Bryant had a number of conferences with the officials. He had 2 of them that Coach Mike Oswald thought were unnecessary stoppages of play. And that was actually the reason for the lengthy conversation that one of the officials had with Coach Mike Oswald earlier. As now Illinois Tech with a 9-4 advantage. We'll go with Raul Matos, number 9, in for the first time this afternoon, the freshman out of Puerto Rico. And let's see how Matos can impact this matchup with his serve. He gets it over clean. Nearly an ace for Matos. Matos on the bump to get the dig. Sherman going across for Donald. Donald's going to get the kill. That was a great hit by Alec Donald off the hands of Barry Applewhite. And Illinois Tech leads it by 6 here in set 3. You just get the feeling around the Keating Center just based off the energy. These Scarlet Hawk fans, they are ready for Illinois Tech to just wrap this one up and get the victory. As the Scarlet Hawks look like they're ready to celebrate their senior day festivities, and what a great way for those 4 seniors to go out in their final game here at the Keating Center. Outside hit opportunity, hit long, and the point to Illinois Tech. Illinois Tech today with a beautiful senior day presentation. We'll actually keep it here during the timeout as St. Norbert down by 7, 11-4. They'll burn the timeout, but as I was getting ready to say, Illinois Tech, prior to today's matchup, had their senior day festivities where they honored their 4 graduating seniors of the 2025 men's volleyball class. It was Alec Donald, Brian Evans, Eli Sherman, and Riley Late. A beautiful senior day presentation led by head coach Mike Oswald at the beginning. And if you would like to see any of the senior day presentation and see any of our archived Illinois Tech athletic events, you can always find them on YouTube. You can find them at youtube.com/Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks. Just go to the live tab and you should in full see all former live streams of Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks athletics available for you right there on, once again, youtube.com/Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks /live, where you can see all previous and former Illinois Tech athletic performances right at home on demand. 11-4 Scarlet Hawks. Set 3 continues with Illinois Tech looking as if they're going to try to clean this one up with a clean sweep against the St. Norbert Green Knights. Serve coming from Raul Matos. High toss from Matos. Received at the back line by Hansey. Outside hit opportunity is blocked, but it goes out of play. The point to St. Norbert. Actually, the official saying that ball landed at Komodo's feet. Good hit from Caden Cornels. One of the few times we've seen Cornels get the point right in front of his side of the floor. Usually Cornels is hitting across the net. Serve coming for St. Norbert with Whitney. And Whitney gives it back to Illinois Tech with the service error. 12-5. This is the most convincing lead Illinois Tech has had thus far in the match. I know they led in set 2 by a score of 19-13, but even that lead was quickly wiped away by St. Norbert. They got it down to 21-19. This is going to be a tough play for the Green Knights. That's going to be 4 hits on Applewhite as Illinois Tech extends their advantage to 14-5 over the St. Norbert Green Knights. If St. Norbert loses this matchup, that should just about do it for St. Norbert in terms of the NAC conference tournament standings. They would be at 3-8 and right behind a number of teams that not only would have better records, but also would have the head-to-head tiebreaker. So for the Green Knights, any hope they had at trying to salvage a place in the NAC conference tournament, it all really comes down to today and finishing out their season. Of course, St. Norbert has one more matchup. That will be Wednesday against the Rockford Regents. And Rockford is the only team winless when it comes to conference play. 13-7. Illinois Tech in control, up 6. In control on the scoreboard, up 6. But controlling the serve is Caden Cornels. Cornels sends it to the back line. Bust on the reception. Riley Late sets it up for Donald. Ball run down by Henderson. Outside hit again for Donald. Donald taps it over the net. Let's see if St. Norbert goes with Knezovich to the back line. He does go to Bust. Off of Komodo. That's going to go to the bench. Good job by St. Norbert, as that was Bennett Cornels who spiked that one off the head of Jelani Komodo to make it 13-8 score. But 8 will control the serve, literally with their number 8 serving in Caden Cornels. Cornels sends it over to Bus. Sherman for Donald. Alec Donald partially blocked. It's kept alive by St. Norbert. Bumped over the net by Whitney. Sherman has Komodo in front of him. That's who he plays it to. And Komodo gets the kill as he spikes it down off the hands of Michael Whitney. Illinois Tech will go with a substitution here. Maximo Dowling will return to replace Zachary Buss. Good job by Zachary Buss on a few receptions there in the limited time he spent on the floor here in this third set. Alec Donald on the serve. Donald on the reception. Good job by Donald to not only serve, but immediately get in position for the dig. Knezovich blocked. Komodo was there. Sherman was there. But just off my two functioning eyes, it appeared that maybe only Komodo got that one. Sherman was certainly there, but it appeared as if Jelani Komodo just two-hand spiked that thing down to make it 15-8. Top of the net. Applewhite gets it back for St. Norbert. Barry Applewhite has been looking for that spike kill combo the majority of the match. He's had some pretty good hits, but that's one of the few times where Applewhite actually got the point to pay off. And now St. Norbert controls the serve, down 6. 9 serving 15 with Boston Peck. Peck, of course, the senior out of Plainfield, listed as 5'10", 170 pounds. Clean serve. Dowling hits it off the head of St. Norbert's Nelson, and he gets the point. 16-9, Scarlet Hawks. It'll be Jelani Komodo. Komodo on the serve. Ball played in the middle of the floor by St. Norbert. That one coming towards the table as Dowling got a hand on it, and the point to St. Norbert. 16-10. Illinois Tech with the advantage, but the serve now will go to Bennett Cornels. Coach Mike Oswald was trying to get some instructions to his team before that last serve. I don't think they heard him in time. Let's see if they can adjust on this point. It's Dowling who goes for the kill and comes through. Maximo Dowling makes it 17-10, Illinois Tech. Scarlet Hawks up by 7, starting to find themselves in a situation where they could possibly pull away. Serve goes over clean, and that's an easy kill for Dowling. The serve pulled Bennett Cornels out of position to receive the dig, and as a result, Illinois Tech took advantage. Dowling just walked right to his spot on the outside part of the floor and knocked it down for the kill. 8 kills for Dowling. Sherman on the serve. Played to the outside for St. Norbert. Knezovic goes for the kill, and he comes up with it. So Owen Knezovic, able to come through for St. Norbert. For Knezovic, that's only his 2nd kill of the match. Knezovic has played in all 3 sets. As now we will see Cam Doty for the 2nd time. Doty came in at the end of set 2 for a serve. He'll serve here at the mid-late point of set 3. 18-11 Illinois Tech. I don't really define it as late until you see a team get to 20. And now here's Sherman who goes to the middle of the floor to Jones, and Eric Jones gets the kill. 19-11 Scarlet Hawks. Hansey comes back in. He'll replace Doty. As now Illinois Tech just 6 points away. They control the serve, but they're 6 points from making this a pretty happy senior day inside the Keating Center. Outside hit for St. Norbert. Long block out of play. Point to the Green Knights. That was Jones and Henderson. Jones and Henderson were both there to try to get the double block. When they made contact, that ball, a bit of a rainbow as it ricocheted way out of play. 19-12. Donald. Applewhite goes for the kill. Point to Illinois Tech. Applewhite is arguing that he thought Donald made contact with the net. The point goes to Illinois Tech, and the Scarlet Hawks lead it 20-12. Coach B.J. Bryant will take a timeout. 20-12. Illinois Tech leads it by 8. Late here in set 3. Can St. Norbert respond and salvage this set? We'll find out on the other side of this break here on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network. Set 3 here inside the Keating Sports Center on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. Illinois Tech with a 20-12 advantage on the scoreboard as they look to try to complete a clean sweep of the visiting St. Norbert Green Knights here on Senior Day. Illinois Tech certainly has been in control. They had identical wins in sets 1 and 2, winning 25-22. Now lead it 20-12 in set 3 as they try to complete the sweep here on Senior Day. Aaron Haney. He serves it long. Ball played to the outside for St. Norbert. No contact, but the ball is in for the Green Knights. That was Bennett Cornels on the contact to make it 20-13 score in favor of Illinois Tech. Coach B.J. Bryant of St. Norbert just about out near half court as he watches late in set 3. Outside hit opportunity. Ball blocked straight into the air, and the point to St. Norbert. Talk about a hard luck bounce. Just an unfortunate break for Illinois Tech. Donald and Komodo both blocked it, and the ball shot straight in the air and fell at their feet to give St. Norbert back-to-back points. Whitney on the serve. Kept alive by Buss. Henderson goes for the kill. That's going to go to Donald. Ball kept alive by St. Norbert, and the point to Illinois Tech. Ball did not clear the extenders, as it was, I believe that was Cornels. Bennett Cornels ran underneath the net to make contact. But the point will go to Illinois Tech, 21-14. Henderson going for the ace, and he gets it. Paul Henderson makes it 22-14. Illinois Tech starting to get closer to victory. Great job by the Scarlet Hawks here in this third set. They went right at St. Norbert. They realized they had won the first 2 sets. Now they're just going right at the Green Knights. Unfortunately there, Henderson trying to get another ace, hits the ball long and makes it 22-15, but the Scarlet Hawks still lead by 7. However, they will have to await the serve now from St. Norbert's Caden Cornels. Here is Caden Cornels. He sends it over clean. Doty sends it into the air. Whitney sets it up to the outside. And the kill this time for Bennett Cornels. As Illinois Tech, again, unable to stop that outside hitting from either Cornels, whether it be Caden or Bennett. It was Bennett that time as Caden controls the serve. Henderson sets up Sherman. Doty plays it to the middle of the floor. Ball sent over by Whitney. Sherman just going to try to tap it over. Bumped into the air by Conway. Ball hit by St. Norbert and the point. Good job by the libero Conway for the assist. That was a perfect set. And St. Norbert again, one of those rallies. We mentioned how they had a 19-13. They trailed 19-13 in set 2. And they were able to get the score down to 21-19 before Illinois Tech finally put it away at 25-22. Donald getting the kill here makes it 23-17. Illinois Tech, 2 points from the fairy tale ending for their 4 seniors. I'm sure that would be a great ending for Illinois Tech if they could end this match with Alec Donald controlling the serve. Donald. And as I say that, maybe hit him with the volleyball broadcaster's jinx as he hit that one right into the net. Nice high serve from Donald, but not enough air as it hits the net. Boston Peck will serve. St. Norbert, they have to be flawless just about the remainder of this set if they want to try to force a 4th set. Dowling sends it over, and the point to St. Norbert as the ball is out of play. 23-19, 19 controlling the serve. It will be Boston Peck. St. Norbert, as long as they control this serve, they're in a good place. But you have to realize they do have room. They only have 1 point to give. And then there is that point. So now it'll be match point for Illinois Tech. They lead it 24-19. It will be Jelani Komodo to serve. Scarlet Hawks took set 1, 25-22. Set 2, 25-22. They would love to finish it here. Komodo sends it over clean. Outside hit for St. Norbert. And a kill for Bennett Cornels. Still match point for Illinois Tech. However, if Illinois Tech is going to win this match, they're going to have to do it without controlling the serve. Looking for the perfect ending here on Senior Day for Illinois Tech. Riley Lake Sets up Sherman. Here's Donald for the win. It goes straight in the air. It's kept alive for a moment, and that's exactly how the Scarlet Hawks faithful would love it to end here inside the Keating Sports Center. The Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks with a clean sweep of the St. Norbert College Green Knights as they win by a score of 25-22 in set 1, 25-22 set 2, and then it was the senior trio, Late, Sherman, and Donald, which finished it off in set 3 for a 25-20 win over the St. Norbert College Green Knights. Certainly a fun game here inside the Keating Sports Center, where the Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks got a clean sweep on senior day, and it helps their cause as well as getting into the conference tournament. Illinois Tech now will go to 10-15 on the season, 5-5 in conference play. St. Norbert now falling to 9-15. They fall to 3-8, and just about assured they are eliminated from the conference tournament, having lost this matchup today. Illinois Tech able to send their 4 seniors out on a high note. It was Alec Donald who got the final kill. Brian Evans, Eli Sherman, and Riley Late wrap up their home slate with a victory. Illinois Tech finishes 4-5 at the Keating Center this season, but now 10-15, 5-5 in conference play as they head on the road for 2 more matches against Wisconsin Lutheran next to wrap up the 2025 season. Then they'll see Edgewood in the season finale. That'll wrap it up for us here inside the Keating Sports Center. For all of our crew, for Eric Willowhite and everyone, and of course head coach Mike Oswald, we'd like to thank you for joining us for our Senior Day presentation, which again you can catch in full archive on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. And also you can also watch this matchup back by going to youtube.com/Illinois Tech Scarlet Hawks and /live, where you can find all of our Scarlet Hawks athletics events archived on YouTube. Once again, the Scarlet Hawks wrap it up. They wrap up the home slate with a 3-0 win over the St. Norbert College Green Knights on Senior Day. For all of our crew, I'm Chris Rouse. This has been another presentation of NCAA Division III Men's Volleyball on the Scarlet Hawks Broadcast Network and on YouTube Live. So long from Chicago.